Hello and welcome back. A bit of a different topic today. I hear it's going around because of the budget and all that lot. I watched Flipping Sloth's video yesterday about the VAT might be getting changed, and there's rumours going around it could be going lower or it could be going higher. And I want to take my spin on it as a business. It's not as probably as nowhere near as big as Sloth. You know, he earns a lot more money than me, and like how it's going to affect probably the majority of people like myself, which is probably a lot of you guys as well who are watching. You know, the people who are making an okay wage, but they're not in the VAT threshold, you know, which I think at the moment is 90k. It was 85, I think, but I think it's about 90k. So obviously I'll talk about that in a bit, but we're going to go through some sales. But first of all, I want to show you something I just picked up. I dropped off my son and I just picked up these from one of the local charity shops there. These are some lovely cat walking boots. They're in mint condition. I've bent them to hell just to make sure, because sometimes with boots like this, they might look really nice like that, but as soon as you start walking, the sole will come off. Really nice. I've sold some of these before, all very similar, because I remember the little digger on the side. These cost me 15 quid. I'm looking 60 to 80. Can't find them. I had a quick search. Suede tongue and suede little bits, full leather, really nice. I haven't even cleaned them, so I will be getting them on later. But yeah, if you saw yesterday's video, I bought a few items, didn't I, from the charity shop, and guess what? I've sold some already. I've actually sold 3 items from the charity shop haul, what I did in yesterday's video. So we're going to go through some, so you know these are maybe the sort of things to pick up if you see them. Obviously one is for more this time of year, Christmas, but the other 2 things are things that I know sell quite quickly. They do sell quickly for me anyway, but the one thing is a obviously cartoon franchise, which when I have it, it just goes really quickly, and I don't know why. It must be a very like popular cartoon franchise. It's very well known. I've got 6 sales. So we better make as much money as possible before we can't afford anything. We got 3 on Vinted and 3 on eBay. First one on Vinted are these Christmas baubles, the vintage ones, brown. I picked them up yesterday for £1 and they sold for £10. That is the one thing you should be looking for more than anything around Christmas. It doesn't have to be vintage decorations. It can be normal decorations, but anything Christmassy now will sell. People will buy it. If you can get something really good for cheap, pick it up. Modern, old, whatever, Christmas stuff sells. Everybody goes crazy for Christmas. The next item is this, I don't know what it is. It's a manga cup. Really nice cup, to be fair. And it is that time I got reincarnated as a slime. That's what it's called. Yeah, pretty standard. Paid 50p for that, sold it for £4. And then finally on Vinted, something else you should be looking for. This is the cartoon I'm talking about, and it's Scooby-Doo stuff. I've had Scooby-Doo Lego. Obviously it's Lego as well, so it's retired and it's quite valuable. But this is Playmobil. I picked this up yesterday from one of the charity shops. It's not complete. It's just missing a few little bits. It's got the main characters and all that lot, and it's missing a few bits on the display. Sold that for $14.99. So just think about it. From the Scooby-Doo and the baubles, which cost me a grand total of £5, I've made £25 back. So £20 profit within what, 24 hours. That's how it should be done. That's how, as a reseller, we all want that to happen. Putting things on and then selling them within 24 hours. And onto eBay, and one of the items is in a big box. There's no point showing you, but I'll put it on the screen. what I've just sold, and literally this is just sold about an hour ago, and it's the LOL dolls. Finally somebody has bought them. I had them on for £44.99. Somebody gave me an offer of £35. I wasn't having it, so I counteracted to 40. They kept on going back to 35. Don't know why, because I kept on going back to 40. Checked out where they're from. They're from France, so definitely I said, yeah, you're not having them for 35 quid. I understand because the shipping cost them 20 quid, but they finally gave in to my 40 quid, and I've finally got rid of them for £40. Next on eBay, I have sold this Ginger Puppy Company puppet, and yeah, it sold for £9.99. I've had it for quite a while. I thought it would have sold a lot sooner, but it's been hanging around. I had it on for £14.99 because it's really nice. It's a nice colour. That's how much I've been selling for on eBay. Just wouldn't go. Lowered it down to £9.99 and it's sold. And then finally, you saw me pick these up yesterday from the little independent charity shop where I picked up the Jellycats. I still haven't sold them 2 Jellycats. Yeah, 25 quid, both of them I want for. But yeah, look how mint they are. I cleaned them up and I had them on for £34.99, knowing that somebody would probably offer me 30. Literally, probably an hour after they've been listed, somebody offered me 30 quid and I sold them. High-tech boots. Yeah, it's one to look out for because they just sell. They just sell. So 6 in total, so not bad. Getting sales regularly, you know, it's giving me money, and that's the only trouble. If I keep on selling and I sell more and more, you know, list more to sell more, that's what our game is, you know, I could be in trouble. There's rumours going around that the budget's gonna kill us off as resellers, and not just resellers, but small businesses. And apparently the threshold for VAT might be getting lowered. And you're probably thinking, well, how's that going to affect me? Well, at the moment, the threshold for VAT is for people who are quite successful, big businesses, people who are earning a lot of money. So the threshold at the moment is about £90,000. I think it is £90,000. So when you hit that, you get a massive tax bill of 20% off your actual wages in total. So yeah, it's a killer. What people try and do is try and stay underneath it. You know, if they're a business where they're on the borderline or they're just like going over a bit, they try and stay under because it's not really worth going over it or beneficial to them, because you'd have to probably earn around about 120,000 to actually make it beneficial. If I made 85,000, VAT wouldn't be able to touch me because I'm under the threshold. But say another reseller made 90,000, they would be hit by the 20% of VAT. So after all, obviously the tax and that VAT comes off theirs, I've actually probably made more money than them. And really, they've made more money than me, only by 5,000, but they're gonna get hit a lot harder than somebody like me. That's why I always say I wouldn't wanna be over that threshold unless I was making a lot more money. So if it is 90,000 at the moment, I say you've gotta be 120 at least to make it worth your while. You gotta think, if you have made £100,000 in a year, you're gonna get 20% of that taken off you. Yeah, I don't really care about budgets. I don't really care about politics. It's all a waste of time. It's just all rubbish. I don't think none of them do anything for anybody. It's all about take. That's why you see a lot of people moving abroad, like places like Dubai and that, because you make more money. But how is this going to affect people like myself? Well, people have been circulating rumours, which in the end of the day are rumours, and I don't think they are true. So I wouldn't really listen to these rumours that it's getting lowered, because that is some of the rumours that it could be getting lowered to like as low as £50,000. If that is the truth, and that does come out, and she does actually say that in the budget, that VAT is getting lowered to £50,000, everybody is in trouble. Because to make £50,000 being self-employed is not that hard, right? £50,000 seems a lot of money, but you got to think about that's £50,000, you know, before you've had all the deductions. So you're really not making £50,000 anyway. But you won't be making nowhere near as much money as you was before. Last year, I made around about 45,000, you know, before tax and that. That is from Vinted, eBay, and YouTube. So if the VAT got changed to 50,000, I would still be okay. But what happens to the people who are just a bit over that? It's gonna destroy them. In a way, I feel like it would be pointless doing this job. It'd be pointless being self-employed, because £50,000 being self-employed, you're still gonna make okay money, but you're not gonna make that much money. You might as well just get a normal job, and you know, job security, a pension, you know, and all that, you know, without worrying, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, you know, and all that. It doesn't seem right. And if they do that, then, sorry, but that government is gone. That government is gone. There'll be riots. There'll be there'll be so many riots, right? Time and time again, you see it. And like I said, I'm not into politics, but time and time again, they always seem to favour the rich over the poor. They want to make the country better, but they don't actually care about the country. They want to destroy poor people to make rich people richer. And there's nothing wrong about rich people wanting to get richer. You know, they work hard and stuff like that, fair play. And, you know, some poor people are poor because they're just bone lazy, you know, they just don't want to do any work. You know, so many people on benefits who claim they're ill or something. That, yes, there is people and they deserve it, but there's a lot of people who are dodgy, you know, they've got houses paid for them, and apparently they've got something wrong with them, which they haven't, and it's wrong. And they fiddle the benefit system by loads. Yeah, that's one thing that does wind me up, and they never seem to do anything about it. What they seem to do is destroy people's lives who are just the ordinary Joe, you know, like most of the people who actually spend probably the most money going around the shops, just day-to-day life, wanting to have a normal life, have a house, so on and so on, and that you can't do it. You've seen people comment, you know, the trolls on my channel, you live with your mum. I live with my mom because literally for me to move out would cost me a fortune being a single parent. And if I had to move out, my son would never get anything. He would never have anything. You know, it would be really, really hard. So that means I'd have to work really hard to get more money. But if this actual VAT comes in, which is getting lowered, me working harder won't make any difference, will it? So if it does lower to £50,000, it will destroy a lot of businesses. It will destroy loads of resellers. It will destroy lots of businesses like window cleaners, landscape gardeners, you know, ones that just like go around cutting grass, and that's what I used to do. It'll destroy car valeters, you know, these businesses where yes, you can make a lot of money from it, but also realistically you don't. You know, it's an average job, and yeah, if it happens, it's going to be really bad for a lot of us, and it could really just destroy a lot of resellers. I feel sorry for the people who are probably around that 60 £70,000 threshold. I have not, like I said, I've got nowhere near the VAT threshold, so I'm okay. And even if it did go down to 50,000, I would just probably keep it under 50. The only other thing that I worry about if this did happen is there's going to be a lot of fiddling. There's going to be more people being dodgy. There's going to be a lot of people not claiming stuff. And that's the other thing. If they're taking money off us to try and live, why should we claim for stuff? You know what I mean? Why should I claim for certain things? There'll be more people selling like backhanders. If it went down to that, I would literally just go and start selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace because it's cash in hand and they will never know. And yes, you're not meant to do that, are you? But why should we let the government take our money when we're, trying to live? They're all rich. They don't care. They don't care about making people poor. And if it does get to that level, I don't know what people are going to do. It will be just easier just going back to work and just getting a 9-to-5 job. But then the economy will just crumble. There won't be people cutting your grass. There won't be people washing your cars. And who gets affected by that? The rich people, because they're all lazy and they don't want to have their lawns not being cutted. Because that means they have to do it themselves, won't they? So it will just be a vicious circle. It will all just like end up being a nightmare for everybody. So if it does get lowered, then we're in trouble, but I don't actually think it will. I think it'll go up. I think it'll go up because everything's costing more. You can't lower something and then put prices of everything up. It doesn't work like that, The minimum wage is a lot more than it was when I first had my minimum wage, which was £4.10. Now it's what, £11 something, is it? I don't know, something like that. And yeah, it's not going to go down now, is it? When the cost of living is higher. So why should they destroy people who are actually getting off their backsides and actually working and making their own business? You don't punish them people because they're going the extra step. They're making the economy better. People who are setting up their own businesses could potentially be big businesses, could be rich people, which means they could go into the VAT threshold and obviously make the government more money. But if you're going to destroy them before they even start, yeah, it's not going to work, is it? But guys, let me know what you think about it. I know it's a bit of a political video, but I thought, I watched Slothy's video yesterday and I thought I'd take it to a different level with somebody who actually could get affected by it. Are you worried? Do you think it'll happen? I personally don't think it will. I think it'll probably stay the same or go up because the previous years it's always gone up a little bit more. But let me know in the comments what you think about it, and yeah, are you worried? Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like it, subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.